G'day YouTube, how is everyone out there today? Hope you're having a great day. Finished work, same story, hot as hell, humid as hell as well. Looks like we're going to get huge storms on the range, but wherever you are, welcome to the channel. This channel we look at all things about mental health, in particular stress and anxiety, how you can reduce that, and my story and stories of other people that I meet in my life as a trainer and a teacher. So I get to meet a lot of people and I hear a lot of stories. Today I'm going to focus on alcohol, in particular my time in Vietnam. I've got a few vlogs up already that look at my time in Vietnam and what led me back to Australia, and one of the issues was alcohol, and I want to talk about Southeast Asia and alcohol in general and the problem it can cause you if you mismanage your life. And alcohol in Asia, particularly Vietnam and Cambodia, I spent a bit of time in both of those places, been Thailand and that too, Indonesia of course, but I worked in Vietnam and I got to see how the drinking culture is in that place, because I come from Australia and a lot of people think Australians have a big drinking culture. Yes, in the past we did. In the present, for a variety of reasons, it's not as big. Maybe more at home than it is socializing, because of the cost of living's insane and the prices of alcohol, especially in the far north. If you go to the tourist places, they are absolutely crazy expensive. So lucky I don't drink much no more, so I don't have to worry about the issue of cost of alcohol. But today I'm going to talk about, the topic is alcohol in Vietnam, Southeast Asia, and how the culture in that country can, you could end up an alcoholic, okay, or a binge drinker. So I'm going to talk about that today, and reason why it's such a problem in that country. And the first reason is actually the culture, or the drinking culture in Vietnam is crazy. It's part of the culture. It's part of the business there. If you do business, socializing in that country, it is a part of their socializing experience. And because it's cheap, people are able to access alcohol very, very easy. In fact, they don't have strict laws like we do here in Australia in regards to selling alcohol and where they can sell it, because in fact you can buy it in supermarkets, corner stores, on the road. You can buy it off sellers on the road. That includes rice wine, which in Vietnamese is rue gao or rue day. That's how they say it, and that's a story in itself, and I will touch on that very shortly. But yeah, that's the first thing. Culturally, okay, it's a part of their culture, and it's something that is done quite often. I'm not saying everyone in Vietnam is going out drinking every day. No, I'm not. But the population is, what is it, more than 90 million. So, and a part of that socializing is drinking. And that drinking culture is one of the traditions they have in there is the old mop hai ba yo, which is more or less, cheers, drink up, chinny chin chin, wherever you come from, you'll have your same expression. So a lot of peer pressure. That's my point with that particular drinking mantra. There's a lot of drinking pressure, and it's easy as a foreigner to go down the same road, because it's everywhere, it's easy to access, and it is so cheap. I know the high-end place nowadays in Vietnam are a lot more expensive, pretty much similar to the prices here in Australia, but you get to the back streets, or you get out of the tourist traps, and you're going to find beer cheap and very easy to access. So that is one of the the problems is the cultural issue of beer drinking. Second one is the climate. Climate's hot, especially in the south I'm talking about. Hot climate, you get thirsty. Instead of like drinking water or taking certain types of tablets, obviously dehydration tablets is my point. And if you're not taking dehydration tablets, you're drinking a lot because it's easy to access. It's going to be another problem, okay? Because the weather is hot, you get the thirst, you start drinking, it's a diuretic, it makes you dehydrated, and then suddenly you're getting run down because you're going to eliminate the minerals from your body as a result of alcohol consumption and it being a diuretic. So that's the other one, is the climate itself in the south. Okay, let's look at number three. Let's look at number three, Bia Hoi. Bia Hoi, very famous in Vietnam, in the north and the south. You'll find them everywhere. Lager, homemade lager. It's very cheap, 50 cents, $1 a glass. So it's on every corner, easy to access. It's part of the, again, I guess we could put that under the cultural umbrella. It's part of their culture, easy to access. So if you're a person that's inclined to be addicted to something, i.e. alcohol, this place is probably gonna bring you unstuck. In fact, the amount of people that I had met and also associated with that developed a very bad addiction for alcohol, drinking a lot, getting drunk, was incredible. These people were functioning alcoholics, and they drink a lot and drink through the night because they could sleep the hangover off. That's the thing with Asia, especially in the teaching industry, and that's why a lot of people get entrenched in that industry if you have an alcoholic addiction, because you can sleep it off or thereabouts. So you can get into work in the afternoon, you slept most of the hangover off, you get through your shifts, and then the process starts again. You're back on the wheel, okay? So that's an issue with Bia Hoi. It's cheap, it's available, and it's easy to get addicted. Okay, let's look at number four. Number four, socializing as an expat. Expat socializing. Fantastic as it is, part of that socializing, or mostly, is drinking. It's the drinking culture. That's where you're going to make, you're going to make friends. You're going to hook up with your mates, and you're going to have a beer because one, the climate's hot outside. Two, you might be watching the footy or something like that, and then obviously it's cheap and cheerful. So socializing. Then when you're socializing, you've got that peer pressure from other expats. They may come from England, America, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa. They all develop this drinking habit, and then of course you get into sessions and then suddenly you're down 12 beers. So that is an issue in itself. Lots of bars for expats. They're set up there to get you attracted, to get you into the bars, and obviously to drink beer, spend money, and then over time you're going to develop, if you mismanage your life, a really bad drinking habit like I did. And then suddenly years are rolled by and you think that you're all good, but actually you're a functioning alcoholic. And then, as I've stated in my other videos, the problems start, and you start to hit the wall, and of course it affects everyone around you, and of course your job. Okay, so let's look at the next one. Next one, elephant in the room, stress. After time being in a climate such as southern Vietnam, due to being in a large city, you got your noise factors, you got your pollution factors, you got stress of being away from your home country. You're not in nature, you're not getting the fresh air all the time. You may be not living near an ocean if you're brought up near an ocean like I was. Stress starts to hit home. Then you got your job. You might have a high pressure job that creates that stress. You get into middle management, supervisor role, senior teacher like I was, where you got to deliver high-end types of lessons, high-end type programs, because look, these people are paying a lot of money. These people are hoping their kids, or if they're an adult, are going to be able to study abroad, get into the Australian university system. So you got to show up. You got to have your shit together. You got to be prepped. And then over time, if you're juggling addictions You know, it could be pharmaceutical, it could be caffeine addiction like I had, and like alcohol addiction like I had. Then suddenly life gets really stressful. How do you de-stress? You have a beer. Those beers are great. They're great for a de-stress at the time. The trouble is, it's the next day. The stress and anxiety appear as a result of the things that I've touched on in other videos. Like your minerals in your body, they're going to be depleted as a result of that. With your dehydration, you're going to feel really, really shitty, really, really bad. And it's going to, it's going to affect your performance in a classroom or in a business situation. So that is that one. So we'll look at one more, and then I want to touch on another cultural practice of Vietnam, and that's to do with drinking rice wine, and a bit of a story to that as well. Let's go to the final point. Final point: lack of peer pressure from your mates to tell you to pull your head in. People to tell you, hey, you're drinking too much. It doesn't happen. You rarely see it in Vietnam. Occasionally you do. You'll get management that will come down tough on people, will release them, let them go. It does happen. I've been in schools where it's happened. It's not one of those things that is as common. Well, back in the day, I don't know what it's like now, but back in the day when I was there, it wasn't as common. So people didn't check you, okay? You weren't put in your place. People just let you go because you could do what you want to do. You had so much freedom. In Australia, someone would pull you up and say, look, I think you're drinking too much. Well, they should pull you up. Where in Vietnam, it didn't happen. So you just spiraled out of control until you hit the wall. That's the last point. Now, just a side note, talking about rice wine, I did mention that. Rice wine sold everywhere. It's cheapest chips on the street, known as poor man's vodka. Really dodgy, can be really dangerous. Lots of expats in Vietnam, around the world, die. They die from the consumption of a tainted product. I've lived with friends that have drank this stuff. I've never touched it, never will. I have drank this stuff and been extremely ill, i.e. violently ill, and have had to take days and days off work. I've heard people with kidney, liver complaints, etc. I have known of people who have died when I was living in Ho Chi Minh City, and you only have to Google that topic and you'll see it come up. So that's a warning out there. Be careful. We've had a few tragic accidents lately related to Australians overseas as well, especially I think it was in Laos, which is a very tragic accident happened over there. Happens in Bali, happens in Vietnam. Not only do the expats or tourists die in Vietnam drinking that stuff, rice wine, but also the locals. Tens of thousands of people, or tens of thousands of locals die a year. Okay, so it's a warning. I wouldn't try it. I never did. A lot of people say, you got to try it once. No, I'm not a believer of that. I knew back in the day it was fraught with danger. I'll leave it as that. So be careful on that one, guys. So that wraps that vlog up. It just gets you to think about why Vietnam and other places in Southeast Asia can bring out the alcoholic in you if you let it. You can't mismanage your life. You've got to get on top of it. You've got to have days off drinking alcohol. I'm not saying don't go over there and have a good time. Far from it. How could I say that when I did? But what I'm saying is be careful with the amount that you drink and have those, break those days up, so you're not drinking every day, because it's easy to go down and fall into that, walk down that pathway and fall into that hole with alcohol in South Asia. Okay, I'll wrap that one up. Hope you have a good day. Hope that may help someone think about, for the people who are going to live in Vietnam, work in Vietnam or Cambodia or any other Asian country. Just be mindful of your alcoholic intake, because it does catch up. I thought it would never happen to me, but it did. Okay, so have a good day, get your head in a good space, and peace out.